When life turns up the pressure, some people break and others transform. Well, today on Transformation Station, we're talking about battle tested resilience, not the kind that looks good on paper, but the kind that's forged in real life fires. Our guest today, he's not just going to talk to us about grit, he's lived through it. He's lived to tell the story. Come on, let's go ahead and get into it even now. Hello, everyone. Welcome back to Transformation Station, where mindset meets movement and purpose is always on track. I'm your host, Adrienne Benton, and this episode is for anyone who has ever felt the weight of pressure and wondered, can anything good come from this? Well, the answer to that question is yes, if you've got the right mindset. And as you know, this is our celebration of Veterans Week, not just a day, but a week. And every day this week, we have a veteran, somebody military related that's coming in and giving us wisdom, some good knowledge. And today will be no different, because we're talking about owning your own story, rewriting the narrative, and stepping into the power pressure that is there to help you thrive and grow. Well, let me tell you about our guest today. Our guest, Pastor Anthony Sanders from the vibrant roots of Greenwood, South Carolina. Anthony R. Sanders has spent a lifetime of inspiring others to live with purpose and courage and unshakable faith. A retired Navy Command Master Chief with over 32 years of exemplary service. His journey is one of profound leadership, deep compassion, and unwavering commitment to uplifting those around him. Married to his high school sweetheart, Jennifer, and a proud father of 3. His life is a testament to the power of love, family, and service. Now listen, he's a pastor, he's also a coach. And as your coach, you're not just going to gain guidance, but you're going to embark on a transformative journey. And I'm so happy that he's here with us today. Pastor Sanders, welcome to Transformation Station.
Thank you so much, Chaplain Benton. I'm very grateful and humble for this opportunity to share with you my life experience as a Command Master Chief and also as a pastor and coach. God is so amazing, and we're very grateful for his faithfulness.
Absolutely. So listen, I've been looking forward to this conversation because one, I know you, right? But two, and two, you have a rich history as a military leader, as a pastor, leading from the front. And so I know that today you and I are going to have a conversation that will yield many gems, leadership gems for our leaders and our military community that's watching, to inspire us to move forward in life. So Anthony, I know that your story isn't one of comfort, it's one of conviction. From personal losses, professional pivots, you as a Command Master Chief, where you stood in storms most people would run from. And what's powerful is that you didn't just survive them, you refined them. So I want to start right here with this question. What does resilience mean to you, not as a concept, but as something you've lived and something that you have led through?
Learning to never give up. During the most challenging and trying times, don't give up. I've learned to just move forward, taking the lessons, building upon those lessons, adding those lessons to my toolbox and applying them each and every day without giving up, not being afraid of the challenges that I'm facing, but more importantly, trusting God to give me the wisdom and the strength to be able to move in the capacity as a leader and touching the lives of his people.
I love that. And you have years of lived experience that we're going to learn from in a few moments. Everyone who's watching and listening right now, in Transformation Station, we always take a moment to reflect and assess. And I want you to answer this question right now. What does resilience mean to you? Not as a concept, but as something that you've lived through, and I dare say are living through. And I want to invite you right now at this moment, those of you who have the capacity, go ahead in the comments and share with us, what does resilience mean to you? One of the things that I think about when we talk about resilience is right here, the quiet, stubborn decision to keep showing up when everything in you wants to shut down. I tell you, and
Yeah.
Pastor Sanders, I think that, on a very human level, everybody, if you're alive and breathing, you've had a moment where everything within you just wants to quit, wants to shut down. You want to put your head underneath the covers and don't come out, right? You don't want to go to the meeting again, all these things. But there's something inside you that says, we can't quit, have to keep going, right?
Right.
It's resilience. It's like what's forged in the fire. And we don't learn this in theory by reading it in a book. But by standards, we learn this as we walk forward. So let me ask you this question, right? You faced situations that demanded both strength and surrender. From your learned experience, life experiences, how do leaders balance being tough with staying human?
Understanding how to be humble in those tough times
Mm,
and learning
mm,
how to move with grace and extend grace in those tough times. And when
mm,
you make a mistake, don't beat yourself up because of the mistake. Stay
mm,
focused on the mission and moving forward and
mm,
learning how to give yourself grace during
mm,
those times and
mhm,
allowing God to show you those lessons and show you how to still love others and appreciate others while you still discipline them, while
mm,
you're still having to show tough love, while you
mm,
still have to groom them in the most challenging times. You're showing that, I'm still human. I still make
mhm,
mistakes. I still
mhm,
got to remain humble while I'm going through these challenging times.
mm,
More importantly, I'm doing it because I'm representing God and I'm
mm,
representing Him with the spirit of excellence.
mhm.
Excellence demands us to be able to not forget where we come from,
Yes,
but
yes.
also remaining humble while we move forward in His grace.
I love that. I love that. And I noticed that you use the word humble. Talk to us a little bit about why do you think it's important for leaders who are practicing a resilient lifestyle to be humble as they're leading?
Well, because some people can take arrogance as standoffish.
Mm,
Because I've
mm,
heard the saying say arrogance can cause you to write a check that you cannot cash. Mm. Right? So, but when you're humble, it makes you more approachable. It makes you
mhm,
understand that the human connection that is needed is more profitable than being arrogant, being standoffish. Because if a person can connect with you in the humane sense, they can be able to relate to what you're doing and what you're trying to take them as a leader. It
mhm,
makes you more accessible and make people realize that they'll be willing to follow you uh, in a humble sense because they see the humbleness in you, if you will, rather than being arrogant. Because if you're so arrogant, people are not going to be willing to follow you,
mhm.
and they're
Yeah,
not going to be willing to trust you
there you
uh,
go.
in
There you go.
in the thick of things.
Mhm,
Because
mhm,
people want to be able to follow people that they can trust, that they
mhm,
can see. I see their heart. I see their mind. I see their spirit. I
mhm.
trust them because they're relatable to me. And we can
Yes,
have that one-on-one connection and we can be able to
yes,
flow in the things that we need to accomplish the mission.
yes, yes.
And that
1,000.
you're no better than I am. We're going in the same direction.
Mhm, mhm, mhm. And it's important, when it goes to communication, it's important that we communicate that message to those that we are leading, right? People want to be able to see that you're human just like they are. And if we walk around like, I got all the answers, I'm always in control, I'm always right, that causes people to step back and say, well,
Mm-hmm.
I have no value, there's nothing that I can really contribute, so why should I even try? I have found over the years that, vulnerability without surrendering authority. A strong leader can say, this is hard. I don't have all the answers.
Facts.
A
Facts.
leader, right, who is confident, a leader who is looking at thriving and growing, not just surviving, is willing to show appropriate vulnerability. Is being willing to say this is hard. Is being willing to say I made a mistake. Is willing to say I don't have all the answers without losing their authority. Man,
Right.
it took
Right.
me some years to learn that lesson right there. Woo! But when I did, it became such a relief,
Mm.
right? And so we want to invite all of our leaders who are watching right now, right? You want to ask yourself, how can you balance being the leader with also staying human, bringing empathy, right? You said something earlier that made me think of this phrase, like setting standards, not walls.
Mm.
Ah, setting a standard, right? This is the
Right.
standard that we are going to work towards. We're working towards excellence. This is the quality that we want to produce, but
Mm.
not putting up a wall that pushes people back, right?
Back.
Demanding
Facts.
accountability while offering empathy.
Mm-hmm.
Not lowering the expectations, but journeying with our teams as we get to complete the mission. Okay, let me ask you this, because I'm really curious, right? This is for all of our military and our veterans who are watching this episode right now. What's one moment from your military experience that fundamentally changed how you view adversity or failure?
I can remember it just like it was yesterday. I was on board the USS Iwo Jima, and we had an all hands call. And the senior medical officer said, one way to alleviate stress in your life is to recognize that you can't control everything. And that hit me like a ton of bricks. I learned that I cannot control everything and I cannot control everybody. I can only control my actions, my words, and my attitude, as well as how I set myself up to be approachable. And once I learned that, that caused me to be able to move forward in life and in my career and in ministry and not focusing on things that are out of my control, but focusing on the things that I need to do that's going to, number one, bring glory to God. Number two, that's going to help people see that they can accomplish anything. And number three, that they can move forward in the sense of knowing that this too shall pass.
Mm.
This too shall pass. Meaning we're going to get through this together as a team, because team stands for together, everyone achieves more. And we're going to be able to accomplish the mission. We're going to be able to accomplish the goals. And we're going to be able to keep the standard at excellence, and everyone will fall in line doing that.
So let me ask you this, right?
Mm-hmm.
When that moment happened, how did it change how you move forward, continuing in your military career? Like, how did what you learned from this moment, right? How did that really change how you continue to lead through adversity?
It changed my approach of how I see things.
Yeah.
That I don't have to uh, stress myself out when things are beyond my control. It helped me to remain, um, help me to zero in on what I need to do, and take the adversity, if you will, and grow from it and grow through it, and not allow it to affect me mentally or emotionally or physically, but use it to my advantage, that I can't control it, even though it's coming at me, even though it's hard, even though it's challenging, but I'm not going to succumb to that adversity. I'm going to use it to my advantage to make myself better. These are the lessons that I got to learn to get through these trying times and go in the strength and in the wisdom and the knowledge that God has given me to move forward in my career. Because if I hold on to those things that are beyond my control, it will keep me stagnant. It would keep me in a place where I can't see what God is trying to take me, because I always be saying, woe is me, I can't move forward because I'm picking up on all these troubles and all these trials and tribulations weighing me down. I can't see beyond the trouble.
Mm-hmm.
But once I learned that the trouble will make me stronger, the
Yes.
adversity will make me better,
Mm-hmm.
I can go for it. I can take
Mm-hmm.
those lessons
Mm-hmm.
and apply the wisdom of God in such a profound manner that people will wonder,
Mm-hmm.
there was nobody but God that brought me through.
Mm-hmm.
Because
Mm-hmm.
people always ask me, how can you, as a CMC and a believer, do the things you do? I said, because I trust in God.
Yes.
I put
Yeah.
my hope and my faith
In
in
him.
God, and I do it by the grace of God, not anything that I've done. I know that there is God that's bigger than me, bigger than the trials and tribulation that I'm facing, bigger than the adversity that I'm dealing with. And I'm
Mm-hmm.
trusting Him to guide me through the process. And
Mm-hmm.
it strengthens me. Because I'm not doing it in my own strength. I'm
Mm-hmm.
doing it in the strength that God's given me to move forward, to
Mm-hmm.
press on, to get
Mm-hmm.
to the other side, and
Mm-hmm.
and and not worry about how the adversity is trying to impact me in a negative way, but use it as an advantage to move along and push the mission along.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. This is powerful right here. And again, to our viewers and listeners, we want you to, ask yourself the same questions, right? Our military community, what can you identify as a moment, or maybe there's moments, what moments can you identify that fundamentally changed how you view adversity or failure? Or maybe right now you're listening and watching and you're struggling. You're having moments, living in a season, a moment right now of adversity or failure. Pastor Anthony, retired Command Master Chief, talked about his faith, talked about how faith in God grounded him and he was able to see beyond the situation, the circumstance, and look to the God that he believed and knew would help to carry him through. And even as a leader, I mean, Command Master Chief, you're at the top, at the pinnacle, right? A Command Master Chief, he didn't just depend on his own wisdom, his own knowledge, his own capabilities, right? But he utilized his faith to fundamentally guide him through. And he has kept this through the rest of his life, through his entire life, even to today. So I want to ask you this: in times of crisis or high stress, what practices, now we're going to take this to the
Mm.
very relatable, relevant level, right? What practices or mindsets help you stay grounded and focus on what matters most? You started talking about it a little bit, but let's hone in and kind of just talk and share with our community. High times of crisis and stress, what practices or mindsets help us to stay grounded and focused?
Learning how to take a step back
Mm,
is the first thing that I would do, and pray. Pray. Prayer has helped me through many dangerous times in my life and uncertainty. Pray and meditate on the Word of God that has sustained me all of those 32 years that I've served and throughout my life, and also learn how to reflect on the goodness of God.
mhm,
Learn how to reflect on His unconditional love. Learn how to reflect and apply His wisdom. And I did that through writing in my journal during those hard times, during those challenging times, and even during those good times. To me, writing is therapeutic. Learning how to write those things out, what we're dealing with, and what's troubling us, and what's heavy on our heart. Learning how to put those things in a proper perspective. Journaling has definitely helped me, as well as meditating on the Word of God, and learn how to step back and PTR. That's what I call it. Pause, think, and respond. Right?
mm,
Not necessarily jumping out and being reactive, but learning how to just pause, reflect on what's going on,
mm,
think about what's going on,
mm,
formulating a response if a response is necessary. Some things does not require a response, right?
mhm,
So
mhm,
and move forward in that plan. That has
mm,
helped me tremendously throughout my particularly the latter part of my career.
mm. I love that. So I'm going to share one, and then I want you to think of one more mindset or practice, right? So one that I think about is prioritizing what's essential and releasing what is not. Sometimes
Mm.
we find ourselves in seasons of high stress. We're trying to do the most, we're trying to do everything at one time, right? But
Mhm.
you can't do everything at one time.
Mhm.
Sometimes you literally just have to like make a list. Okay, these are the things that we're dealing with, we're working through. Let me prioritize, right? Take
Mhm.
one bite at a time. Finish one, handle one thing at a
Mhm.
time, right? And release what is not. Because in crisis, not everything can matter equally. And
Mhm.
leaders who stay focused ask, what is the one decision I must get right today? Right. And so leaders, we want to invite you, go ahead right now, even today. Prioritize what's essential and release what is not. Tomorrow's coming. Tomorrow is coming, and tomorrow's another day, right? That thing that you can't handle today, it'll be waiting for you tomorrow. Don't panic, don't worry, but prioritize what is essential and what is the one decision that you must get right. What's the decision that will cause you to move forward today, not pull you backwards? One of the things that I try to remind my team is that we're called to be progressive, not perfect. When we
Mhm.
strive on being perfect, we try to do everything, right? When we strive to be progressive, we take more time. I like what you said, that pause, right? We take time to
Mhm.
pause. We take time to prioritize, right? And so we can go ahead and move forward. What's another mindset or practice that you sometimes have utilized or utilize even now?
Well, right now, I could say learning how to mindset is having a good sense of humor, right?
Mm-hmm.
Um, I make it a point to watch something that is comical and laugh every day.
Hmm.
It eases the tension and the stress. It takes the focus off of what you're going through, and it puts my mind in a peaceful spot. Learning how to laugh, learning how to have a good sense of humor, and particularly, yeah, sometimes you gotta laugh at yourself, you
Mm-hmm.
know. And that has helped me um, put my mindset in a place to transition from laughter and then move into a place of peace.
Mm-hmm.
Peace with God, that peace that surpasses all understanding, across our heart and mind through Christ Jesus. And when we can have our mind at peace, our bodies can be at peace as well. And
Yes.
and we can be able to, when it's all said and done, everything we deal with, when we're in a peaceful state, we can rest well.
Yes.
We
Yes. I
can
love that.
rest. We can rest well.
I think we really need to ask ourselves, when was the last time that we just laughed? Laughter is
Right.
medicine for the soul,
It
you know?
really is. It
Last time
really
that we
is.
just laughed. And sometimes I agree with you. Sometimes you just have to take. Matter of fact, you know what? When I was stationed on one of my ships, I
Mm,
remember there were some times where I needed to get away from everybody. I needed to
mm,
just find a little corner somewhere where nobody was walking by me calling my name. And I would used to, back in the day, I used to love Seinfeld. I don't know if you even know that
mm.
show, Seinfeld. And when we would go on deployments, I at the time I had a CD player and I
Yes.
had different seasons, and I would get my Seinfeld and I would go find a little corner where I knew nobody was walking by, and I would sit and I would just watch the episode and laugh. It was like that laughter just took a weight off.
It does. It releases a lot of stuff.
Yes, yes. So thank you so much, definitely for sharing that. I'm going to share one more, and that is lead from the center, not from chaos. When I was stationed at another billet, the section that I worked with, not duty section, but the department that I worked with, we had a commitment that we made to each other. And
Mm,
that is, just because somebody came to us with chaos did not mean that we were going to jump into the chaos. And then whenever we would see
mm,
somebody come into our office very chaotic and like they were trying to rope one of us into the chaos, we say, don't jump into chaos. And we keep, they wouldn't know what we were talking about. We chuckle and keep on going. But it was a signal to the person, just because the person you're helping is having chaos, that does not mean that you must now enter into and dwell in the chaos. And leaders, you will have chaos all around you. Like it's par for the course, right? We are leaders for a reason, but it doesn't mean that we have to become chaotic.
mhm,
Before leading others, we must ground ourselves, right? We have to return to ourselves. How do we do that? Pastor Anthony gave us some things. He talked about prayer, right? You can pray, you can meditate, you can journal, you can, some people, like for me, I love music. My staff knows when I'm really stressed out, I'll say to them, listen, I'm closing my door. I got to put some music on. I got my praise music going. I got some jazz going, something, because for me, music helps me to stop and recenter and focus and clear my thoughts and be able to keep going. And so it's really important that we take time to anchor ourselves. That's how we stay grounded. So then we can go out and be leaders who lead on purpose with to others. I don't know. Do you have any other thoughts on that?
No, but you hit the nail dead on the head. I would just add that um, you know yourself, you know your strengths and your areas of improvement as a leader, and you recognize when you're getting close to the edge that you got to find your tools to keep you from going over.
Mm-hmm.
And that's why I was talking about that sense of humor while you're talking about prayer and journaling and meditating. You need to know yourself, particularly when
Mm-hmm.
you're getting close to the edge, so that way you can recognize, okay, I'm at my breaking point, near my breaking point. I need to reel myself in. But you may not always have someone that you can reach out to in that moment. So that's why
Mm-hmm.
you have to make sure you have those self awareness, and have those tools to help you in those crises and
Mm-hmm.
in those trying times.
Mm-hmm. I love that. I love that. So let me ask you this. When the battle ends, right, whether literal or emotionally, how can leaders transition from survival mode to growth mode? What would you recommend?
That's a good question. Mm, yeah,
Okay.
learning how to take yourself out of the equation.
Mm,
Sometimes we take ourselves too serious that
mm,
we miss the opportunity to grow and become better,
mm, mm,
right? And we do that by learning how to take a step back and say, okay, I'm doing too much. I'm being too serious. I'm being too aggressive or passive aggressive. Let me take a step back and recognize where I am at this point in my life, or where I am at this point in the mission, and, and,
mm,
and remove myself from the equation so that I can recognize the areas where I need to grow. Because
mm.
being in survival mode consistently, you will think that's your norm,
Yep. Mm-hmm.
right? And you don't want to get stuck in your norm when God has room for you to grow.
Mm-hmm.
So you got to make sure that you recognize where you are at each point or each pivot, and learn how to pivot in your life. And when you learn how to pivot, you recognize that there's an opportunity for you to grow from survival mode to growth
Mm-hmm.
mode. When you see that you've done everything that you need to do over here to your left, and it's time to start shifting, transitioning from that point to the growth point. But you don't want to get stuck in that survival mode, and
Mm-hmm.
you don't want that to become your norm, because
Mm-hmm.
you'll never know how to experience what God has for you, because you're so used to, or you have succumbed to the norm when God wants you want to do extraordinary things in your life.
Mm-hmm. So
That
true.
makes sense.
Absolutely. And while you were talking, I thought about this thought. Recognize that survival mode is not a sustainable strategy. Like, we
Mhm.
don't want to get comfortable living in survival mode. And that
Correct.
I hear you saying that 1000%. And so
Mhm.
listeners and viewers right now, we're all in this together. Listen, hashtag out of survival mode. Out
Yes.
of survival mode, right? Meaning get out. We do not want to live, dwell, and get comfortable in survival mode. Why? Because survival mode is built for urgency. Survival mode is built for short term decisions, reactive thinking, emotional armors, protection. But what got you through the storm can't
Mm.
take you into your next season. Mm.
Yes.
What got you into the storm can't take you into the next season, right? Growth begins with acknowledging I don't have to live in fight or flight anymore. This is so important.
Yes.
Pastor Saunders, have you heard of the book, The Body Keeps the Score?
I have not.
It's a phenomenal book. I invite you to read it at some
Mhm.
point, right? But one of the premises that the author, and this is one of my takeaways from it, is that many of us walk around anxious and frustrated, and we walk around depressed because when things happen, traumas happen, hard seasons of life happen to us, we, instead of processing and healing, we decide I'm just going to get through it, right? I'm going to move on to the next thing. I'm not going to deal with it. And so we keep putting our clothes on, we go to work, we keep on pushing through, but our body says, "Oh, this happened. Oh, this trauma happened," right? And your body is keeping score. And at some point, your
Mhm.
body says, "This score is way too high. I got to lower the score somehow." And next thing you know, you're having panic attacks. The next thing you know,
Mhm.
all the muscles in your body are aching and you can't figure out why.
Mhm.
You're having migraines all the time because your body has kept the score and your body saying, "Listen, you moved on, but we got to deal with this here." I can't tell you how many colleagues that I know who served for many years in the military, hard charging, and then retired. And it what appears to be all of a sudden, now they're dealing with all these physical situations. I know several that had strokes
Mhm.
shortly after, they had heart attacks shortly after. Their body said, "Oh, wait a minute, we're not running. Well, now I'm going to go ahead and make up the time and we're going to deal with all the stuff that you didn't have time to deal with when you were in the military." Mm-mm,
Mhm. Exactly. Exactly.
mm-mm, mm-mm. So, to our viewers, we want to remind you right now, listen, growth needs to take place here. Remind yourself you don't have to live, you don't have to dwell in fight or flight mode. If you are living routinely in fight or flight mode, this is a good opportunity right now to make a determination that you will use resilience, you will use faith, you will use your community, you will use your resources. Even if that means you need to go see a counselor and go for counseling or get a coach, you're going to use your resources so that you will give yourself the opportunity to not dwell and live in fight or flight mode, but to only use that mode when you actually need it. All right, one more real quick. Create space to process before you push forward. Too many leaders jump from battle to blueprint, but growth mode requires integration, not just action. And when I saw this one, I said, "Oh yeah, I totally understand that." I think sometimes even the military, we're steered to go, 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 battle, 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 go, 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 go. Read the instruction, go do it. But real growth comes when we take time to process, to integrate, to collaborate, right? To allow there to be a shared responsibility for the things that we have to get done. And so we want to invite all of our leaders to really take time to redefine what success looks like and redefine the fact that survival mode keeps you alive, but growth mode brings you back to life. So, Pastor Sanders, as we turn the corner here on this amazing conversation, I want to ask you this question. If you could tell every leader one thing about courage and resilience that the military taught you, what would it be?
That you can do it.
Hmm.
You can do it. You can make it through whatever trial and tribulation that you're going through every storm, through every fire. You can do it. We're
Yes.
trained mentally, physically, spiritually, and emotionally to handle the most daunting task in our lives. And we do it with ease. To some, that may seem like that, but we put a lot of things on our backs to help us get through it. But one thing I want to drop in your spirit, while you know you can do it with wisdom, do it with grace, do it with understanding, and ask God to give you peace in the process of while you're going through what you're going through in life. As
Mm,
leaders, we deal with so much on a day-to-day basis. It's coming at us like a fire hose. We got to
yeah,
learn how to take that step back
yeah.
and experience the peace in the processes of what we're going through, while as God will give it to us. That peace will keep our mind focused and our heart in the right space as we're moving through. If our heart is hard and our mind is all over the place, we won't be able to experience God's peace.
Mhm. Mhm.
So seek God, have the courage to seek God to give you peace while you're transitioning from one section to the next section in your life. It will be so rewarding. Why am I telling you this now? Um, I got it at the latter part of my career through the most challenging time of my life. Um, God gave me peace because I had enough courage and wisdom to recognize I don't always have it all together. But what I
Mhm.
do have, I have trust and faith in God to
Yes.
see me through it all. And
Mm.
He has done that time and time again. And He
Mm.
reminded me that I can do it, that you're going to be okay. And I
Yes.
had my therapist tell me, now you're the mission.
Mm.
Ooh, what? That hit me like a ton of bricks. So that means I had to learn how to become the mission of working on myself in the
Mm.
process of transitioning out of the military or dealing with leadership challenges.
Wow.
Understanding who you are as a person, as a leader, will do more good for you than what you can ever hope for or imagine. Learn how to be good to yourself. Learn how to
Mhm.
be good to others. Learn
Mm.
how to experience peace in the
Mhm.
midst of everything that you're going through.
Mhm. 1000%. Thank you so much. And, again, this week we're taking time to hear from our veterans, hear from our military personnel so we can strengthen this community. We honor everyone right now who has ever served, who is serving right now. Thank you so much for your service and your commitment, and know that we are committed to being a resilient community for you. Pastor Sanders, thank you so much for joining us today. This has been such a rich, um, wise and amazing podcast episode. For me personally, I know that I need to go back and listen and watch this on the replay because there were so many serious right now gems that I want to be able to apply to my life. Thank you again for joining us. It's been great to have you.
Thank you for the opportunity. I'm very
Thank
grateful. God bless.
you. Thank you. God bless you too. All right. Well, listen, wasn't that great? That was so inspiring. If that didn't stir something in your soul, I don't know what will. Pastor Sanders just gave us a masterclass in how to transform pressure into purpose and pain into power. Now, here's what I want you to do. I want you to share this episode with somebody who's feeling the weight of it all because they need to know resilience isn't just about bouncing back, it's about breaking through. I also want to invite you right now to go ahead and subscribe and follow Transformation Station because I don't want you to miss one single Monday or Wednesday episode. And if you're ready to stop avoiding pressure and start transforming through it, this replay, you need to go back and watch it on the replay and let it move you. Okay, so until next time, keep choosing purpose over panic, strength over silence, and transformation over trauma. I'm Adrienne Benton. This is Transformation Station. We're not just talking about change, we're actually living through it.